Hey, hello everyone, welcome to my channel Relationship Stories. Today, one person is asking us, am I an idiot for being angry with my girlfriend and her friend over the way they treated my friend? But before we give our judgment, let's hear the story from his side. My friend and I both have friends that we thought would be good match for each other. We have been talking them up to each other for a little bit now and made plans for the four of us to meet up at a bar last night. It was supposed to just be a casual hangout kind of thing, not a date. When we do meet up, my girlfriend's friend pretty much ignored any attempts he made to start a conversation with her. She had either said nothing or given one-word answers before going back to talking to my girlfriend. Then she was outright rude to him. Her and my girlfriend were talking about coffee and still just trying to have a conversation with this girl. My buddy said actually the darker coffee has less caffeine. My girlfriend's friend did like an exaggerated nerd type voice and mocked what he said. Then my girlfriend and her busted out laughing right in front of him like it was the most hilarious thing ever. It was awkward as F. At that point, I just tried to have my own conversation with my friend. Once we started talking about my girlfriend and her friend actually got up and moved. I thought they were just going to the bathroom or something, but they just went to a different part of the bar and stayed there for the rest of the night. My buddy took it well as far as I could tell, but I still felt bad for building up this meeting to him to have it turn out to be the shit. My girlfriend doesn't get why I'm angry at her and her friend. She said her friend was not feeling it and should not be forced to fake it. I mean, she's technically right, but it doesn't make it any less freaking rude. There are friends of hers that I absolutely cannot stand and I would not never treat them like that. Well, at least I would not before. I should not be forced to fake anything anymore. Update, I talked to my girlfriend about it again. She is still pretty much standing her ground. She says they should not have laughed at him in front of him. They were just drunk and being dumb. She doesn't think moving away was a shitty though. She said he kept sneaking into their conversations and not taking the hint that she didn't like him. I told her that he was not sneaking in. The whole reason we all got together was what they could talk. Then my girlfriend said yeah, and her friend didn't want to talk to him anymore. That's why they moved. I'm kinda blown away that she thinks the way they acted last night was acceptable. My opinion about this issue is, OP, it sounds like your girlfriend and her friend were incredibly rude and disrespectful to your friend. It's understandable that you are angry about it, while your girlfriend may be technically correct that her friend should not be forced to fake interest. It's also important to be polite and respectful to others. Especially in a social setting, laughing at someone and then moving away from them is incredibly hurtful. And it's not the behavior of good friends. It's important to communicate to your girlfriend how you're feeling and why you think her friend's behavior was inappropriate. Maybe try to explain it in a way that she can understand, such as how she would feel if someone treated one of her friends like that. If she still doesn't see your point of view, take responsibility for her friend's behavior. It may be worth re-evaluating the relationship. Good friends should treat each other and their friends with respect and kindness. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, not an idiot. The girlfriend and friend were super rude to just walk away and sit elsewhere and to mock your friend to his face. Outrageously rude and worrying that your girlfriend doesn't get how that's rude. But for future reference, be a little more subtle with your matchmaking. If you ever think friends might hit off in the future, don't hype them up to each other and then set up a group date. It's awkward, obvious, makes people nervous and puts pressure on both of them. By all means, host a barbecue or something and invite them both so they can meet, but don't go. I know a guy or girl who's perfect for you. The four of us should go on a date. I cringed when I read that. Our friend too said, not an idiot. She doesn't have to fake it or be feeling it. To be a decent human being, just be polite. Laughing in someone's face or getting up and moving to a different seat when out with friends just screams of the mean girl mentality. I'm not going to tell you to dump your girlfriend because the nuclear option is not always the right one. But if you explained that your only expectation was that they be polite and still account responsibility of her own actions, you may want to reevaluate your relationship and see if she's exhibited this type of behavior before. Story 2. Towards the end of last fall, my 16-year-old son started bringing a friend over to our house. He is a nice enough kid, but over the course of this winter, he's basically inserted himself into our family. Now he comes over every day after school and spends the night frequently on weekends. He only has his mother in his life and she is not home a lot. She is a whole other story of entitlement. The second time we met her, she asked us for money. Back to my son's friend, though he is always bringing his issues and dramas with him to our house. Often I feel like his therapist. It would be different if I didn't also have two young children in addition to my son. But I do, and adding on troubled teen to the mix has been just frustrating and mentally tiring. It's all come to head though. He smokes, although he denies it. There have been multiple times I have smelled cigarette smoke on him. Earlier in the week, one of the teachers caught them both smoking in the dugout at the school. My punishment for my son was not going out and no friends over for a week. I'm going to also ban this particular friend for coming over, at least on weekdays. I don't know yet. I had liked to ban him completely, but I do feel bad. I have not fully made my mind up yet. My husband doesn't usually come home until later on, so he is not as bothered by his presence as I am. But since I am the one to deal with and feed the boy, my husband is deferring to me on this. I just have enough on my plate. I really don't need all the problems he brings with him, and now he's becoming a bad influence on my son. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, "I was that kid growing up. I think you need to talk to your son's friend and see what's going on in his life. I remember how I was basically living with one of my friends because my mom was in a bad place, but allowed to let her ex-husband, who sexually assaulted me, to stay with us. She did it so she could take his money. But it really freaked me up inside. When my friend's mom found out about what was going on, I was the only friend my friend could have over even when she was grounded. But there were expectations for me in their house. I did chores and helped with their younger kids. Basically, they had the same expectations for me like their kids. You never really know what is going on with kids like him. There is always a reason why a kid doesn't want to go home." Our friend too said, "Not an idiot, and you can do whatever, but as someone else commented, you have an opportunity of being able to supervise them if they meet at your house, and banning him would just make your kid go out more often." My aunt has a situation just as you described, minus the smoking, with a 17-year-old that's friends with my cousin. What she did is set rules to the other kid just as if she were his mother. And it seems to work pretty well for both parties since the kid is getting the structure he doesn't get at home. Mind you, I know it's not your responsibility, but if it were within your means, you could positively impact this kid's life. Story 3. My grandfather died in early February and he left his house to me, since I'm the eldest grandchild, and all the belongings in the house to his children. However, he gave his wife a life interest, which means she can stay in the house as long as she wants to. So I share the house with her. Bit of a backstory: everyone hates his wife because she's treated my family like a sheet for over 20 years. A few weeks ago, my mother came by the house because she wanted to take one of his TVs to her house, and the video threw a tantrum, openly disrespecting my mother and threatening to call the police if she didn't leave. My mother told her she didn't want any trouble, she just wanted the TV, which was rightfully hers, and that would be it. A lawyer came and settled it, and my mother took the TV, and that was that. Yesterday, she sent my mother a cease and desist letter at her workplace, as well as a restraining order to preventing my mother from coming near the house. My mom used to be the only person in the family who actually liked her, so this caused a rift. Now the wife is threatening me with a lawyer because I don't pay bills. I'm still a student, so I don't work yet. My close family thinks she is doing all this because she wants the house for herself. So I decided to end all this and sell the house and all the stuff in it. Now her family, who have nothing to do with the issue, are attacking me, saying she will have no place to live and I'm a horrible person. But I have had enough of this conflict. Am I the idiot for doing this, guys? My opinion about this issue is, it sounds like a difficult and a complicated situation. While it is understandable that you don't want to deal with the conflict, selling the house and all the belongings may not be the best solution for everyone involved. It's important to consider the feelings and needs of your grandfather's wife, who has a life interest in the house. Selling the house would leave her without a place to live, which could cause her significant hardship. Before making any decisions, it might be helpful to try to communicate with your grandfather's wife and see if there's any way to come to a peaceful solution. It may also be worth seeking the advice of your lawyer or mediator to help facilitate a discussion and come up with a solution that works for everyone. Additionally, it's important to keep in mind that even if you do decide to sell the house, it's important to handle the process in a fair and legal manner to avoid any potential legal costs. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. You are the idiot OP and your family too. But holy sheep, dude! Your grandfather's wife just lost her partner of over 20 years. You say she wants the house all her own? No sheep. If I raised a home with my partner, I sure as hell would want that home after his death. I would not be in a position to move elsewhere. I'd be even more pissed if some rat decided they were going to sell my home that I raised with my husband, while also living off the bills that I paid, and quitted with your "I'm a student" BS. Even I had the basic level of empathy back on college to not try to sell a grieving 62-year-old widow's house from underneath her. If the way your family is acting now is any indicator for how they have treated her the past couple of decades, no wonder she hates all of your guts if it comes to it. I hope she sees you and your whole sheep family for the maximum she can get. Our friend too said, you are an idiot first. Did you live in the house before your granddad died? If not, I highly doubt he intended you to move in and start taking all the stuff from inside. The more reasonable assumption is he returned his estate to his family to be passed on after his wife died or after she moved out of the house. What's next? Are you going to boot her out of her bed and take the two? If my partner died and a teenager moved into my house, rent and utility fees, I'd be pissed off too. You and your family sound like greedy sons of bitches that read the will and thought of money, money, money. In doing so, you have stomped all over a grieving widow. Piss off and let her live out her life in peace. Then come in for your selfish TV grabbing obligatory. I have not seen the will, so I'm making common sense assumptions.